Welcome to Hardback Life. It's time for stories, sass, and strong opinions. Let's turn the page. I'm Cassie, and I'm alone again. It's been a long morning, guys. So let me start with saying Becca's doing great. By the time you're listening to this, she has already taken her first really big test. But when I'm recording it, it's tomorrow. And then she'll have another test this weekend. That's really big. We're kind of just getting her through these couple of weeks, getting her past these really big tests. It's her last semester in grad school. But of course, we didn't want to let what we've worked on fall to the side. So we've both agreed I'll do a couple solo episodes just to get us through. But she really does miss doing it. We've been texting all morning, but she just needs time to study. And when she's not studying, she needs to relax because it's a big deal. So I'm here again. I actually all morning have been working on trying to record with my sister because I thought maybe just mixing it up with somebody else might be fun. But her Wi-Fi isn't really doing it. It's not cutting it for recording. And it's snowing, so I don't know if that's not helpful. So we might try again for next week's episode to try and get her on if I bring my stuff to her and use a hotspot. So we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed that I can get my sister on here. Just to mix it up, really. Hate doing solo episodes, but again, like we've worked to build this and we really want to be consistent for you guys. So we're trying really hard to do that. Becca's still working behind the scenes with everything, but she just needs her time and her space, and that comes first. I am not in grad school, so I have the time to do it, and therefore I'm doing a couple more episodes by myself. But when we first started, not the podcast, but the Instagram, Becca really had to take on most of that role for us for a little bit. There was just a lot going on in my life and it wasn't something I could concentrate on. Like we had started it and we were going strong and then a bunch of stuff happened for me. So she kind of took the reins and now it's my turn. In a relationship, a friendship, that's kind of what it is, especially like when you're doing something like this. Relationships are not 50-50. They're 60-40. Some days they're 99-1. Some days they're 70-30. That's what a true friendship is. And so here I am. We're wishing her a lot of luck on these tests. She's going to be amazing though, guys. I mean, she was meant to do what she's in grad school for. So she's going to do great. And this is her reminder that she's going to do great. So yeah, here I am. Like I said, hopefully we'll be able to get my sister on next time. That should be fun. So like I said, Becca's life has pretty much been taken over by these tests. But she's still reading when she can. By the time she's done studying, working, being a mom, she's a little bit tired. I'm sure a lot of us can relate. So she hasn't been reading much, but she's still reading that dark romance one. And it was not Amarantha. I said that in the last episode. It wasn't. I still don't remember what it's called because that's what's in my head. But that's not what the book is called. She's reading the Abby Jimenez still. She's really enjoying that one. She said it's like brought her back on her romance kick a little bit. Because when we turned romantasy, we stayed romantasy for the most part. I mean, I mix it up with like my ice hockey ones and arcs. But she really went hard in the romantasy. So yeah, she's enjoying that turn or that like little switch up for her. For me, I don't know, it was just my birthday, so I got a new fish for my birthday. So excited. I wanted a fish for so long. His name is Atticus Finch, after Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird, because you guys know that's my favorite book. He's a beta fish. I know you can't see him because it's glowy back there, but he's so cute. He's a white beta fish, and it's pink. His whole setup is pink and white because that's my favorite color is pink. I also got a new microphone, but I haven't had time to set it up yet, so I'm so upset. It's also pink and white, guys. So hopefully next time I'll have a chance to set it. Well, if I do a solo next time, if it's with Jess, then I won't because I'll be at her house. So we'll see. But I'm so excited for the new microphone. Really, when I say I set it up, I mean Andrew needs to set it up for me. I'm sure it's not hard. I'm sure I can do it. I just haven't committed to it yet. I'm super excited for it though. As far as what I'm reading, I've been really working on giving audiobooks a shot. I told you that was my New Year's resolution. I said in the last episode, I've really been trying. I'm on my 5th, I think, of the year. I'm listening to The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It was recommended to me by my friend. So hopefully, I'm enjoying it. It's interesting. A lot of them, I'm only on law like 4, so I'm not super far. I get it. I've looked at some of the reviews and I do see why people don't love it and I can understand it. I'm interested in it. Andrew told me when I told him I was reading this or listening that it's also on his reading list. So I'm excited to see what he thinks also. And then I know there's one The 50th Law by 50 Cent, also written with Robert Greene. So I'm definitely going to read that after. But I think the way I've worked out doing audiobooks is it has to be nonfiction. So that way when I come home, I can still read a novel or a romantasy, or right now, I'm starting today. I haven't read it yet. I'm reading Reese Witherspoon and I forget the other author's name, something Harlan, I think. Gone Before Goodbye, because that's my work book club's book. So I'm excited to start that. It's kind of short. It's like 300 something pages. So yeah, I think because I read one novel. Well, technically I read a novel and a novella, listened to, and I didn't want to stop. So when I came home, I just put my headphones in. Whereas like, since it's nonfiction, I don't mind taking the breaks of like, I'll listen in the car while I'm cooking, taking a shower, whatever. But then when I'm sitting and I'm ready to read, I can take out an actual novel. So I think that's how it's going to work. I'm on my 6th or 7th book of the year, I think, already, guys. So that's kind of exciting. I set my goal a little bit higher. I read 80 books last year. I think it was around 80. My goal was 50, but I struggled. Like, there was a month, like October, November were rough months for me as far as reading goes. So I didn't want to double it. I didn't want to go to 100. So I upped my goal to 75. And I do think with audiobooks, I'll be able to surpass even what I did this year. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I think audiobooks are a real game changer for me. And I said that to Becca, and she's like, yeah, not for me. Like, she's like, if I'm listening to an audiobook, she only listens in the car, really. She's like, so I don't get through them fast. So it really only adds like a couple extra books a year. I know she does like to mix it up. With Crescent City, I remember specifically, she was doing the audiobook and on her Kindle. And what was cool about that was that since Audible is through Amazon and Kindle's through Amazon, whatever you listen to, then your Kindle caught up to that page, or whatever you read on your Kindle, then Audible caught up to that part. And I think that's really cool. I've only been doing audiobooks through Libby. I don't have Audible. And since I do Kindle Unlimited, I probably won't do Audible. I wouldn't want to pay for both, and I'd prefer Kindle Unlimited. Yeah, I think for her, like for readers, like how Becca does it, I understand it not adding a lot, but I think the way I do it, and I speed it up. So I'm on like a 1.5 to 1.75, depending on the author's original pace. So I get through them a lot. The 48 Laws is like 22 hours, and I'm only 3 hours in, even with my speed up. So that one's going to be a while. The other ones I got through in 2 days, which also made me realize how long my work commute is. I guess it never really felt long, and it still doesn't feel long, but to be able to listen to an audiobook in 2 days, I feel like maybe I should look for a job closer to my house. I don't know, guys. Anyway, that's all I got as far as updates for us go. I thought for today's episode, since I already did an episode on 1-star reads of my 5 stars, doing the opposite. 5-star reads. I don't really do 1 stars. So just 5-star reads of books I was like meh about. Only one of them is an actual 1-star, because it's the first book I've DNF'd ever, which you guys know is the Let Them theory. I'm so sorry. I know it's so popular. I'm so sorry. So I can't say it's 5-star reviews of my 1-star, because that's only it. But like, some of them are 3 stars. Like, they were ones I was toying between 2 and 3. And I leaned more towards 3. So it's 1 to 3 star. They're just my meh books, you know? So I thought that would be fun. I don't know. I hope you think it's fun. I couldn't come up with anything else, to be honest, especially because, like I said, I was initially going to do my episode with Jess. So hopefully it goes okay. You guys know I get a little more nervous on the solo episodes, so I just hope it's okay. I hope you guys like it. I think we'll do the Let Them theory last, since it's my lowest rated book. I do have the New Year's resolution of DNFing a book I don't like, though. So maybe I'll have more of these in a year. We can do those. We'll see. So let's get started. Let's start with another one you guys know Becca and I hate with a passion. We might have actually read some of the 5-star reviews on this one during the episode we did, but it was Matt Haig's Reason to Stay Alive. Sorry. I had some of his other books on my TBR, and then after reading this, immediately removed them. I don't want to read anything that man has written. And to be fair, I think he's more known for his fiction and his novels, so maybe I should give those a chance. But Matt, I'm so sorry, but I can't do it. I even remember I wanted to rate him 1 star. Even though I didn't DNF, I finished it. I still wanted to give it 1 star. But in this book, Reasons to Stay Alive, he says that he goes on and looks at his Goodreads review, including the ones that don't do well, and it kind of sets back his mental health. So I felt guilty and I gave him a 2-star. And Becca told me that I shouldn't have done that, but I did it, and I'm gonna stand by it. I'll be fair. I'm not gonna change it. I'm gonna keep it there. But yeah, I would have given this a 1-star if I didn't feel guilty about it. So let's look at some of the 5 stars, because like I always say too, even if I don't like it, he still wrote a book. Like I don't know. I don't like to yuck somebody's yum. Like I really very much, if he is your thing, like I love that for you. If you found in his writing a reason for you to keep reading, a reason for you to even stay alive, like I love that. I know that everybody's taste in reading is different, and that's kind of why I wanted to give some 5 stars of my lower reviews, because I don't hate on anybody for loving a book I don't love. Like everybody reads for different things. Everybody's looking for something different. And hey, they still wrote a book. Like Matt Haig still wrote a book. Whether I like it or not, that book is published. This man is a published author, and that is amazing. So with that, when I give these books, I'm not hating on anything. I'm not hating on these authors. I'm not hating on the books maybe the book itself, but I still value other people's opinion. That's why I want to read some of the 5 stars, because I also think maybe I missed something. Like maybe I'm the problem and it really does deserve 5 stars, and something didn't click with me, and I'm okay like being wrong. I don't love it, but I'll be wrong, I guess, if I have to. But I'm not yucking anybody's yum. Like I want everybody to enjoy the books they want to enjoy. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean you might not like it. So I just want to preface with that. But I just want to add that because I do think it's important that everybody has their own opinions. I don't know. I came across a video on Book Talk today, or TikTok, and maybe that's why I'm in my head a little bit, where this girl was really mean about if you liked certain books, like what is wrong with you, like what is going on with readers nowadays. They're not as smart. They're not looking for the right things. I don't know. And it really just rubbed me the wrong way. So I'm really trying not to be like that. I think you wrote a book, which is amazing. And she was like saying some people don't deserve to be published, and, publishers need to be meaner and critics need to be meaner. And I just don't think that. I think, why do we need to hate on other people and their work when it's their work? They still did something. I might not like it, and it's okay that I don't like it, but I'm not the only opinion that matters. Just like this other person was not the only opinion that matters. I don't know how I ended up on that part of Book Talk, how Becca and I ended up there, because it's our shared account, but I hated it. And I really want to make sure you don't think I'm doing that. I want you to enjoy the books you want to enjoy. It's okay if I don't enjoy them, but your opinions are still valid, I promise. I don't know. I just needed to get that out. That video is just stuck in my head, and I really didn't want anybody to think that I was doing the same thing. I think every book is still valid. Every author is still valid, whether I agree with what they wrote or not, or whether I enjoyed what they wrote or not. I will never, ever, like I said, even if I don't have anything positive to say about your book, you still wrote a book. And I still think that's amazing. Like, there are so many people who don't write, who don't express themselves. This is still art. And I don't get all art either. And that's okay. It is what it is. I just want to make it clear. Your opinions are valid. These authors are valid. These books are valid. Opinions vary. That's all. So I am looking at Matt Haig's Reasons to Stay Alive. Out of a little over 100,000 ratings, there are almost 43,000 5 stars, 38%. So let's look at some. The only book you need to read about depression. Okay, I disagree. I disagree, but I want to know why. That's the thing. I always want to know the other opinion. Anyway, I'll get off that. I promise I won't do that every time. Okay, so they said, finally, a real book about depression that makes sense, that those with depression will read and sit nodding their heads and agreeing with all the way through. No psychobabble here from psychologists who have never experienced depression. Just real, raw telling of Matt Haig's journey to the dreaded black dog, with the dreaded black dog. Sorry. I also never heard depression called that. So I do find that interesting. But I love black dogs, so I don't want to pair them with depression. This book should be given or bought by everyone battling depression or has a loved one battling it. It's everywhere you know. Yeah, I think this was a very specific, this is what I struggled with this book. It's a very specific take on depression. It's a very specific take on how he handled depression. And I think he almost vilified other means of handling your depression. And he almost made the reader feel like his way was the right way, when his way is a little bit more of a privileged way, traveling. He had a partner that was a saint, basically, and she did a lot for him, and she stayed through a lot. And I don't think everybody's that fortunate. And I think that's what I kept struggling with, because he had some good moments, some good quotes, some good things to remember, but I felt like he had a very privileged outlook on it. So this same person, sorry. I first reviewed this and back in 2015 and decided to read it again in 2023. This was when this was written. I have watched how depression and anxiety in others post-COVID and those isolating lockdowns has ballooned. Never more timely to get yourself this book. So many are suffering with depression. It breaks my heart, and how many young people and teenagers are also. Again, I totally agree with that. I think depression really escalated for a lot of people during COVID, post-COVID, but his outlook on it with traveling and a spouse, maybe you were alone during COVID. We weren't traveling during COVID. You know what I mean? Like, I just think his way might not have worked for some people. He tackles the issues of suicidal thoughts and tendencies and how scary it can be. Nobody wants to talk about them, right? But we need to. That I agree with. And for that, Matt Haig, thank you for writing this book, because I agree. I don't think people talk about mental health or suicidal tendencies and beliefs enough. And for that, whether I liked his writing and his take on it or not, like, I commend him for writing this, especially like that is so personal. Not everybody can come out with their own stories. Not everybody wants to. So I think for that alone, this book deserved the extra star that I gave it, because he did talk about something that's not talked about enough. And I think that's great. I'm going to skip a little bit in her review. And she said, a bit that resonated with me was about how withdrawn you become from the world, scared to go out on your own or even with others. You need people, but you can't cope with them. It's overwhelming. I agree. I get that. Matt mentions staring out of a window and watching people go by, thinking he just wants to be normal like them. The intense battle to get over it, but it's just not like that. Brain chemistry is proven to be scrambled. If you have broken legs, nobody just says, just get over it and walk. So why is there still far too much stigma around this? I agree with that. Becca and I have both said that. If you have cancer, people won't be like, just get over it. Like, it's not like that. Mental illness is illness. You still need to take care of yourself. I don't like that he was looking at other people and just assuming that they were mentally okay, because you don't know what kind of battle that person's fighting. And that's something I do try to remind myself. I'm going to skip around because it's a really long one. And she wrote, nice job, Matt. This one will help so many people. It should be given out at every counseling and therapy session for anyone with depression around the world. I'm so glad that it helped this person. Truly and honestly, I love that. I did not feel that way, but I'm glad that somebody who needed it got what they needed. Here's somebody who wrote, another 5-star, obviously, what they learned from the book about depression. And they said, American Psychiatric Association says that depression is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, how you think, and how you act. Fortunately, it is also treatable. Depression causes feelings of sadness and a loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed. It can lead to various emotional and physical problems and can decrease your ability to function and work at home. And then he has a quote. Depression is also smaller than you. Always it is smaller than you, even when it feels vast. It operates within you. You do not operate within it. It may be a dark cloud passing across the sky, but if that is the metaphor, you are the sky. You are there before it, and the cloud can't exist without the sky, but the sky can exist without the cloud. That's Matt Haig. And again, like I said, he had some good points, and that's what I liked. So I'm glad he put that. I think that's a great, great thing that was said. I liked that one. He gives a lot of other things that he learned. So like, he's giving the definition of anxiety and depression in this next one, and then the Matt Haig quote again. And I like how he's doing that. So I'll read that one also. The medical literature tells us that depression and anxiety are like two sides of the same coin. Being depressed often makes you anxious and vice versa. It's crucial to treat both conditions. And then the Matt Haig quote, adding anxiety to depression is a bit like adding cocaine to alcohol. It presses fast forward on the whole experience. If you have depression on its own, your mind sinks into a swamp and loses momentum. But with anxiety in the cocktail, the swamp is still a swamp, but it's a swamp now has whirlpools in it. The monsters that are there in the muddy water continually move like modified alligators on their highest speed. You are continually on guard. You are on guard to the point of collapse every single moment, while desperately trying to keep yourself afloat. to breathe the air that people on the bank all around you are breathing as easily as anything. I think that's a good metaphor. I think the idea of adding anxiety into depression, I mean, I've never done cocaine or been drunk, so I can't really relate to the alcohol and the drug one. But it is just adding like sprinkles to a shitstorm kind of thing, you know? I have both, so I get it. Here, I like this one's bibliotherapy he talks about. Bibliotherapy is, and this is what I was saying at the beginning, so I'm going to make sure I read this. Bibliotherapy is a form of therapy using literature to improve your life by providing information, support, inspiration, and guidance through books. It's a form of therapy that many people are not familiar with, even though this term was coined more than 100 years ago. Bibliotherapy shouldn't be mistaken with other therapy modes like DBT and CBT, even though some therapists provide bibliotherapy using CBT. It is used as an adjacent part of treatment. So when I think of bibliotherapy, I think of reading or writing. And I think a lot of people, maybe they don't call it this, but use it. Like when you're keeping a journal or you're writing a short story about your moments of depression. That's all. To me, that's what that is. And that's, again, why I have to give Matt Haig props for that, because he wrote it and he shared it. And sometimes people write it and they burn it. You know what I mean? Like, it's for you. And he turned something that was for him and therapeutic for him into art for other people to relate to. That's why I like that. Again, this is another really long one. So I'm going to, like, he talks about social media and depression, diagnosing and treating depression, taboos associated with mental health, love. Like, it's a long one, so I'm going to keep going. I wish I could find a shorter one just so you could hear the whole thing, but there's a lot. Let's see. This is a good one. It's 5 stars. They started with a quote from the book: "Wherever you are in any moment, try and find something beautiful. A face, a line out of a poem, the clouds of a window, some graffiti, a wind farm. Beauty clears the mind." I think it's similar when people say try to find something positive to think about. That's harder when you're in your lows or you're in your anxiety. I think finding positive is hard, but finding something beautiful might be an easier way to frame that for yourself. I find these words really moving because they are simple and true. Even during our darkest times, when life feels overwhelming and our plans go awry, it is important to appreciate the beauty of life and our surroundings. This past year has been a strange one for many of us. This is 2021, so I'm assuming she's talking about COVID. This past year has been a strange one for many of us, and for me, the beauty of nature has got me through it. Going for walks and runs has been essential for mental balance. Taking photographs of trees has been helpful too. Matt Haig suggests that we keep our thoughts focused on these elements to remember that life is, indeed, still worth living. Agreed. What makes this book particularly helpful, though, is the honesty and sincerity that has been poured into it. It's a genuine book, one written to inspire you and keep you moving. It tries to inject color back into your life when perhaps has become a tapestry of dull, motionless grays. It's a book that understands depression and one that also understands that moving out of it is very difficult, but if it can be done with the right advice and actions. For me, this isn't a book to be read just once. This is a guide to come back to when help is needed. Okay, I thought that was a really nice review. It's interesting that she talks about it as a guide. I just never thought about it as like that. So that's interesting. And like I said, like, I'm glad that it helped anybody, even just one person. Then Matt Haig did his job, you know? Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that it's not helpful and inspiring to other people. Beautiful. So that was Matt Haig's Reason to Stay Alive. Like I said, there's a lot of more 5 stars if you're interested. All right, let's look at Mad Honey. Mad Honey was one of the first book club books that we did. I'm not a fan of Jodi Picoult's writing. I find her herself very interesting. The fact that she used to be a lawyer and she uses a lot of cases that she knows or worked on as her inspiration for her books. Like, I love that, you know, seeing that she stands up for women's rights. And I love that. I'm not knocking her as a person. I'm just not a fan of her writing. It's very dry. I'm not a fan. That being said, I like her stories. That's why I keep trying to read her. I really like her stories and the premise of the books. I just don't like the execution of them. So I read My Sister's Keeper when I was in, I don't know, elementary school, middle school, and I really liked the story. I just didn't like the writing. And then as I got a little older, I was like, maybe I was just young, you know? Now I like different things. Let me try it. And I read another one and I can't even remember the name. I didn't like it. That's probably why I can't remember the name. So I had given it some shots. I'd given her writing some shots. Every time she releases a new book, I want to read it. I want to like it. I love the idea of it. I just can't do her writing. So when Mad Honey was picked, I was hesitant, but a little bit hopeful because it does have a co-writer. It is co-written with Jennifer Finney, Boylan, I think is how you say it. Oh, look how cute she is, guys. I just love her. Hey, mama. Sorry. If you're listening, my dog just got cuddled up next to my Rocco's Modern Life pillow, and I love her so much. I'm obsessed. Her name is Zelda. Find her on our Instagram a lot. Anyway, I just don't like her writing, and like I said, I really want to. I like her stories so much. I like the premise of them, but I was hopeful with this one having a co-author. I wasn't aware at the time that so it's dual point of view. Jodi Picoult wrote for one character's point of view, and Jennifer wrote for the others. You can tell right away who wrote for who, and I definitely enjoyed Jennifer's chapters more, but it did keep me going. Like, I did want to keep reading. Like I said, it's a hard one. It's a hard one for me. I rated this one 2. I think looking back, maybe 3 would have been a more fair rating, because like I said, I'm here for the stories always. And I did like Jennifer's writing. So maybe 3 would have been more, but I'm not changing any. That's not what this is about. I'm just looking at some 5 stars. So I know that my one friend I worked with really liked this book also. It was a popular book, or not book talk. It was a popular book club one. I think most of our book club gave it 3 or 4. So let's read some 5. I'm interested because I want to like this one. I really, really didn't like myself for giving this a lower one because I really like the story. But I'm not going to say any of what the stories are about. Like I said, I try to make my solo ones spoiler free. So if any of the reviews have spoilers, I'll try to read around them. This one has almost 600,000 ratings. Over 200,000 of them are 5-star. That's 35%. It seems like the most popular rating was 4 stars. So I feel like that's still a really strong book. 4 stars are 41% of the ratings. So let's look at some 5 stars. So their first sentence says, I've been devouring Jodi Picoult's books for years, and honestly, I've missed the taste of her older works, those thought-provoking, earth-shattering, twisty novels that shake you to the core and challenge your moral compass with unconventional plot lines. This book brings back the precious quality I love in her earlier works. Maybe I should read somewhere in between those. I don't know. Just like her books 19 Minutes, which explores school shootings, bullying, and violence, Picture Perfect, which takes a realistic look at domestic violence, and The Pact, which delves into the intense bond between young lovers, Mad Honey combines all of those incredible elements, weaving together unforgettable characters and deeply developed stories. It rocks your world and makes you question your own beliefs. I agree with that. She does have a lot of character development. She does have some really incredible elements. I just hate the execution. When I reached the halfway point, I was blown away by a twist I didn't see coming. It truly felt like a slap in the face. After a jaw-dropping moment, I just sat there stunned, trying to gather my thoughts. The twist shifts the main focus of the book, taking the story in an entirely new direction. I won't spoil anything, but I'll keep one significant plot point out of my review to preserve the surprise. I agree with that. Here's a quick summary of what I loved about this book beyond Jodi Picoult's amazing storytelling skills and the bold approach taken by her brilliant co-author. Character development. The character development is outstanding with 2 resilient women at its heart. I'm not going to read the whole paragraph about why she's saying each one, just so I can get, this is already so much longer than I thought it would. I'm only on the second book. So she loved the character development, the educational elements, the mystery and themes. This book is about so much more than abuse, violence, or murder. It's about the freedom to choose your own path, even if it goes against the wishes of those closest to you. Interesting. So I was reading, I took a pause there because I didn't understand it and I had to read through the whole thing. Jordan McAfee's return. I didn't realize that he has been a character in another book. Apparently he was Peter Naughton's lawyer from 19 Minutes, one of their favorite books by Picoult. So that's interesting that she brought that character around. I like that. Let's see. Let's look for another one. Oh, this person said 5+ stars. Outstanding. 2022 favorites list. Shocking and emotional. Heartbreaking and eye-opening. Thought-provoking and inspiring. She says a lot more, but it's a long one, so I'll keep going. Okay, here's a shorter one. I could probably get through the whole thing. This book will remain in my heart and memory for a very, very long time. Mad Honey, written by Jodi Picoult and Jennifer Finney Boylan, was initiated by a dream that Jennifer Finney Boylan had about co-authoring a book with Jodi Picoult. What a specific dream, but I love that, and I love that it was accomplished. Jennifer posted a tweet about the possibility, and Jodi reached out to Jennifer. Both of them knew who the other was, but they had never met. That's actually so cool. I love that. The collaboration in book is incredible. I listened to it as an audiobook, and the narration by Carrie Coon and Kee Taw is outstanding. Both authors speak at the beginning and the end of the book. Outstanding insights and experiences by both that led to this masterpiece. I also learned a lot about beekeeping. Yeah, there was so much about beekeeping. I could keep a whole ass hive if I wanted to, including on how honey was made. Back to the review. I won't share much about the characters and the plot of the book because I don't want to give away any spoilers. The book held me spellbound the entire time. Highly, highly recommend. Love it. Yes, I was shocked by how much I learned about beekeeping from this book. I wasn't on my to-do list. And those were all Jodi's chapters. And I think that's like my point of hers. Like that was all. It could have been like little bits here and there, but was it overtook so many plot points, I feel like. She's so like into those little details for those little nuances. I don't know. I get it, but it makes for a very dry writing style. And I'm just not here for it. And that's funny to me because I love classics. I love classic writing and they're a little bit drier, but there's something about Jodi's I just cannot get on board with. Someone said this is their favorite Jodi Picoult book since Small Great Things. I've never read that one. So that's all I'm going to read on that one. This is one I can understand why people like. I mean, I guess I can understand why people like every book. Her writing's just not for me. Let's look at Colleen Hoover's Too Late. It is actually the only Colleen Hoover I've ever read. I'm very torn about this book. The writing was decent, but the story made me, I don't know. I think it was in a dark romance section, and maybe that's why I think I don't like it. It's more of like a thriller. Like the main character is being like assaulted by her boyfriend, and I don't know. I don't find that to be romance. I find that to be crime. I don't know. So maybe that's what I struggled with. I did give it 3 stars for the writing, and I did like in the end. I don't want to say it actually because I don't want to give anything away, but the ending turned it for me a little bit. So that's why I upped to that star. And I also was very in my head about like it being Colleen Hoover because she's a very big author. And I was like, is something wrong with me? Like I might be the problem here. So I don't know. I felt like it's still meh. It was my lower 3-star. I think I would have given it a 2.5 if I could on Goodreads, but it just wasn't for me. I get it. It just wasn't for me. There are over 500,000 reviews for this book. Over 200,000 of them are 5 stars, so that's 39%. So let's look at it. This, like I said, this is the only Colleen Hoover I've ever read. Verity is on my list because I've heard good things, but I just feel like she might be a little overhyped. I have trouble reading authors that everybody loves, and I don't know if that's just me because I don't want to be disappointed. I get nervous when everybody loves something that I'm going to be the one person that has something bad to say and that I feel like I'm the problem. You know what I mean? So let's look at some of these 5 stars, shall we? I love when people put memes in their reviews like this one. Girl, it's a 5-star review and it's just a picture of Leah Michele from Glee. If you know her, she's a Broadway star and actress. And it's just a gif of her. I love it. I love it. And I just think that's funny. It's short and sweet, right? Let's see. This is going to be a hard one to avoid spoilers for, I think. So I'm trying to here's one that does a spoiler section and a non. So this person gave it 5 stars. It says non-spoilery section. Hello, non-spoilery person. Why on earth haven't you read this book yet? What are you waiting for? And then she has a gif from The Heat. I think the Sandra Bullock and no, why am I forgetting her name? I love her so much. She was Suki on Gilmore Girls. She's hysterical. No, why am I forgetting her name? That's actually so upsetting. I'm going to keep going because I'm really disappointed in myself. I should look it up. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to look it up. But it's her throwing a book at somebody, and I love it. It says, Melissa McCarthy. There it is. It's Melissa McCarthy. On second thought, there might be a few reasons why you don't want to read this book, and by a few, I mean a lot. You see, this book has a trigger warning for basically everything you can possibly think of. Here's the list of the trigger warnings. Abuse, rape, cheating, drugs. Also, the sexual scenes in this book are much more graphic than any other Coho book. I like that, Coho. It's like Soho. That's fair. If you somehow made it through all the previous warnings, then congratulations, you're good to be my friend. This book is a slap to the feels, just like most of Coho's books, but it's absolutely amazing. So basically, these gifs are getting me. It's from the scene in Harry Potter when they're in divination. I never know how to say that word. And Ron's reading Harry's tea leaves and he goes, "You're going to suffer, but you're going to be happy about it." So that's what she's saying this book is like. Now go read the book and come back to discuss it with me when you're done. I like this girl. She could be our friend. Becca and I would love her. I can just tell. The rest of it is spoiler, so I'm not going to read it. Let's see some more. Here's a 5-star, a little bit shorter, so I can read the whole thing. I was immediately sucked into the gripping story. It's told from the point of view of 3 people. Sloan is trying to get away from Asa. I think his name is ASA. But it's because of his money that her brother is able to get the care he needs. As soon as she finishes college and can earn enough money to take care of her brother and herself, she'll escape this dangerous man. Asa is terrifying. He's a drug dealer. That's the least of his crimes. He thinks Sloan really loves him, and his constant control over her is how he loves her. Carter wants to save the day, but it's too dangerous, at least right now. There are parts of this novel that are hard to read because of the abuse, but it's quite a page-turner. At about 2/3 mark was an epilogue, which confused me since there was so much left of the book. It turns out the last third bounces around in time and is just as tense as the first part. Recommend. Okay. Yeah, I think for all the reasons she said, that's why I didn't like it though. He's terrifying. His way of showing love is to control her sexually and financially. And I think that's what I didn't like about it. And Sloan is, in her points of view, is very open about it. And it just made me sad. And I get that's the point. I just not what I want to read. I don't know, because I like thrillers. I guess I can't say that. It just didn't resonate with me is all, I guess. Beautiful. I wanted to throw in a classic. One I cannot stand. I can't stand it. And I know it's some people's favorite classic. It's my mom's favorite classic. And I fucking hate it. Catcher in the Rye. I hate it. I can't. I think he is a spoiled little turd. That's all I got. Holden is the worst. I don't like this book. I've tried. I can't. Yeah, my my mom's the first one that pops up with her little 5-star rating. I hate this book. Let's see. There's over 3 million reviews. It's a classic. What are you going to do? And 1 million of them, a little over 1 million, is 5-star. 33%. Let's see. And I never find people who agree with me. Maybe we should. No, that's not what this episode is. I was going to say let's read some 1-stars, but that's not what this episode is. Okay, let's see. This person just quoted it. So they had a lot of quotes, and then it says, I've started rereading A Catcher in the Rye. It's so strange during different parts. I feel like crying. A wonderful and moving novel. I feel like I really understand Holden. Like he is my guide, my son, my brother, my friend, myself. I think of him and I know that change in the world and changing myself can still happen. It just has to happen. That's life after all, right? Sure. I'm glad Holden made you feel that. Here's another one. 5 stars. I love it when I go into a book with low expectations and it ends up knocking me on my ass. Admittedly, this is tougher to do with classics, but it certainly happened in this case. I remember first reading this in school, like many of us, and not thinking it was anything special. However, having first read it almost 25 years ago, I knew I had to read it again before I could feel justified in actually reviewing it. Of course, I didn't hold out much hope that my feelings would change and was expecting a fairly painful reading experience. In fact, as I started reading, I was already thinking about what my amazingly insightful, completely isn't it cool to bash the classics 1-star review was going to focus on. It's not cool to bash classics, as I'm bashing this. I thought maybe I could bag on the less than spectacular prose used by Salinger, making myself feel really smart in the process. Or maybe I could take some jabs at the less than exciting narrative pacing and throw in a few references to watching paint dry. In the end, I thought my most likely avenue for attacking, he crossed that out and wrote reviewing, this anthem of teen angst was that it was really, utterly yawn-inspiring, crossed out. No longer relevant today because of the glut of teen angst that recent generations have been exposed to ad nauseum growing up. We live in a time in which teen angst is everywhere and even has its own subgenre label now. You can find it in music, movies, and even the shitty, crossed out, popular literature. And then he posts a picture of Twilight. I'm dead. Okay, anyway, he put a little caption under that. He said, literature is a serious stretch, but I must admit these books do in fact fill me with angst. I don't know. I read those young. I read those in high school. But I do feel like as an adult, I would hate them. Instead, I found myself completely drawn to the rich, nuanced story of Holden Caulfield. I found myself empathizing with Caulfield almost from the beginning, something I did not expect to do. His annoying, pseudo-rebellious, and just don't care exterior were so obviously manufactured and so patently hiding a seriously sad and lost boy that I was transfixed on finding the real Holden Caulfield. Despite the book being written in Holden's own words, the reader was still able to discern that Holden's surface response to a situation was hiding a much deeper emotional response. For Salinger to be able to infuse that kind of nuance into the sparse prose of Caulfield's narrative was nothing short of brilliant, in my opinion. It goes on for a long time, actually. His last sentence, a great and moving experience, and one that I give my highest possible recommendation. You know, maybe I should try and reread it. I was younger. I don't remember how young, but maybe I should try and reread it. I'm not opposed to my opinion changing. That gave me some hope, but I'm not going to promise anything, guys. I love to hate him, so I might not. We'll see. But that review might have convinced me to give it another try. And that's why I love reading the mix of reviews. I do it for all the books I read. Let's see. Another 5-star. I was worried as hell about reading this book again. The last time I read it, it was about 1,000 years ago when I was a kid. I was lousy with angst, just like good old Holden back then. I really was. Now that I'm a crummy old guy, I figured that I wouldn't like it anymore. So he liked it initially and was rereading it and thought he wouldn't like it. Got it. That's the one thing about crummy old guys. They always hate books that kids like. Every time I reread a corny book that I really liked when I was a kid, it makes me want to give the writer a buzz and ask what the hell is going on. It's like they are trying to give you the time in the back of a cab when you don't feel like getting the time at all. It's damn depressing, I swear to God it is. If you want to know the truth, you probably couldn't even talk to a phony writer on the phone. A phony writer on the phone. He would just end up talking to his butler or some snobbish person like that and asking if they would give the writer your message. He probably wouldn't even do it. The thing with guys like that is that they will never give writers your messages. That's something that annoys the hell out of me. That was like a little tangent. Turns out this is still a damn good book. Salinger Kid is a great writer. He really is. Maybe I'm still just an angst-ridden son of a bitch. Sorry, that was spelled phonetically and I had to figure that out. Maybe I'm still an angst-ridden son of a bitch, but this part kills me. All the kids kept trying to grab for the gold ring, and so was old Phoebe, and I was sort of afraid she'd fall off the goddamn horse. But I didn't say anything or do anything. The thing with kids is, if they want to grab for the gold ring, you have to let them do it and not say anything. If they fall off, they fall off, but it's bad if you say anything to them. I'll bet everyone is going to think that I'm just horsing around or trying to be all sexy talking like this. The reason for the corny review is because 1,000 other people have already written reviews for this book, and I'll bet that they have already said everything that I want to say. It's pretty depressing. It really is. That's about all I'm going to talk about. Now, I just hope that no one writes fuck you on this review. That's the thing with some people. They're always sneaking up and writing fuck you on your book reviews when you're not looking. They really are. I mean, I'm here for him. I kind of love this man. I love him more than I love the book. So that's fun. Maybe I should reread it. I don't know, guys. Maybe these reviews are convincing me to reread it. Let's move on to the Let Them theory. This was the first book I ever DNF'd, so we're going to give it a shot. Let's see. I was thoroughly disappointed. This book had so much hype and I didn't like it. Like I think I made it 100 pages in. I forget, but I hated it. It has over 250,000 ratings. Over 100,000 are 5 stars, so that's 41%. There's only a little over 7,000 that are 1 star, and I'm one of them. So let's read some of the 5 stars. I've never been a self-help girl, but this was exactly what I needed to read before going into the new year. Okay. Plenty of flaws, but this is a separate one, sorry. Plenty of flaws, but everyone who reads it will likely gain significant wisdom. For that, you got to give it 5 stars. Nope, I don't. The core bit of advice involves the mantra, let them. Whenever you encounter a situation you want to control but can't, let cashiers be slow at the checkout counter, let your family have crazy political beliefs, rather than dwell and fester, move on. Queen Elsa sang about this back in 2013, and if you want to save yourself $20, maybe give that song a listen and take it to heart. I'm dead. That's actually so funny. As a refresher, because I know I talked about this, my issue with this book was it was super fucking privileged. And I don't think Mel Robbins has experienced anxiety or depression a day in her life, because she's talking about the one that did me in where I had to stop was she was like, so the man next to you on the plane won't put a mask. This must have been written post-COVID, by the way. The man on the plane next to you won't put a mask on, but he's coughing like directly in your face. Well, let him. Like, no. What if you have cancer? What if you have an autoimmune disorder? I'm not going to let him cough in my face. The other one was you got passed over for a promotion you deserved and you worked hard for, and your work's not being celebrated the way it deserves. Let them take advantage of you. You can get a new job. Also not true. Like, there are careers it's very hard to move around on a whim. like that. There's also like a lot of anxiety that goes into that of, well, this is the evil type of thing. Like I hate change because I prefer the evil I know over I could end up somewhere worse. You know what I mean? So it's just very privileged, very this is great if you don't have any mental. That's the thing. Maybe this is really great if you don't have any underlying mental health things that you're trying to address. I can't relate to that. So that was my big thing with this. This book, I'm going back to the review. Sorry, I just took a little spin away. The book adds a major second layer of self-help guidance. However, after you let them do whatever annoying thing it is they do, Mel encourages you to think, let me. The let me part of the let them theory is where things get interesting. It's what differentiates going completely numb to the world to being an empowered player in life. Tired of people with stupid political beliefs? Let them have them, but then let me decide to do what to do. Let me decide what to do. This could mean ignore them, disassociate from them, join a political movement, or even run for office. When you free yourself of the need to control other people, you empower yourself to control your own identity. I mean, I understand the theory, and there are places in life where I think let them does help. Let people have different political opinions than you. But I don't know. I even struggle with that one in the world today, to be honest. I can't even continue because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of that. But like, let people think differently than you. I get that. I stand by the mindset you can be wrong, but like I'm going to move forward with how I want. But that's like a very small one. Again, these bigger ones that she was saying, the coughing on you, the getting passed over for a job, I don't think those are things you can let them and let me do. I don't agree with that. I think let them is a very baseline way of looking at life. And I agree with that part of it. I don't think it's for your entire life. I don't think it's for everything that happens to you. I don't. Differences of opinions, places you might want people to do something your way. I get that. Let them do it however they want. Let them do it the harder way. Let them learn their lesson. Don't let somebody cough on you in a plane. Just saying. That's where I struggle. I think that kind of sums it up. Also, another thing that I was upset about was she plagiarized, apparently. I'm going to put in the apparently or the allegedly, but I read the poem and it's straight up this book. And she says she never read the poem before, but it was her students. And then at a later date, she was like, oh, I mean, I read it, but like I didn't get my inspiration from there. My inspiration. And she says in the book, her inspiration was her daughter. Like, no, I don't believe that. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get back to another review. So here's another one. When I was starting this book, I saw that Oprah said this is the best self-help book in I don't know how long. And I thought, wow, that's probably a bit of a stretch. But nope, this really is one of the best in general and definitely the best personal development book I have read in years. It has so many lessons and takeaways that I actually can not really even digest them all right now. I'll have to come back to the book, highlight and reread, and take them all in. Apart from being full of excellent and freeing advice, it felt like this huge therapy session. Felt comforted, understood, seen, like I was given tools and directions. Like this wasn't some theories and empty talk about that you need to read and have no idea how to actually apply anything from it. It was practical, actionable, doable. Mel is so incredibly vulnerable and honest, and her ability to show up as this flawed person and still show the loving kindness for herself, and the fact that I see her faults and still like her. It really gives you proof and permission to be just as you are, to accept and forgive the previous version, know and express you have issues and have made mistakes, but does not make you any less lovable or less of a person. This whole book serves as a reminder that the best is yet to come, that we really do live and learn, and that every new day, no matter our age or situation, is the opportunity to choose better for ourselves and those around us. A perfect book to start the new year with, and one I'll recommend over and over again. Thank you, Mel. That was incredible and so full of value. When I read a review like that, I'm like, did I read the wrong book? But no, I didn't. I didn't read the wrong book. I love that other people are getting this. I wish it did that for me. You know, I'm glad it helped people. Truly and honestly, I'm glad that people are finding value in it. I wish I could understand. I don't. That's okay. Let me, I guess. But yeah, I don't. Like I said, I'm glad people find value in it. I'm glad people find it helpful. It's just not for me. Here's one last short review. 5 stars. Not sure there's been a day that's gone by that I started this book. That's how it's written, but I'm going to rephrase it. Not sure there's been a day that's gone by since I started this book that I haven't thought about it. All the stars, love the audio, read this book. again, I'm glad. I'm really glad that people enjoy it. Really glad. It's just not for me. That's okay. We can all have different opinions. I still value all your opinions. I still love to read all of the reviews when I post a 5-star or a 2-star or whatever. I like to go and it's something I do every time I post a review. I read other people's reviews just to see the different takes and maybe something I missed or didn't get from it that other people got. So I do love reading other reviews. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully I didn't make anybody feel bad about their reading choices. That really wasn't my goal. As long as you like your book or the book, sorry. As long as you like the books you read, that's really all that matters, you know? I like the color pink. Not everybody likes pink. It's the same kind of thing, you know? Everybody's got their own opinion. Yours is not bad because I disagree. It's just different. So keep reading the things you like. Keep loving the authors that you love. And tell me about it. I want to hear about it. So with that, I don't really know what I'm doing next week. Like I said, hopefully I will. Oh, there's no game. Sorry, there's no game this time because I don't know what to play by myself. So maybe I'll have one next time. I don't know. Maybe Jess will be here next time. Maybe it'll be just me, depending on if we can get technology to be our friend. So with all that being said, wish Becca good luck on her test. Send her some positive thoughts. And until the next chapter, stay cunning, stay brave, and remember you are your own high lady. Bye, guys.